Admiral Karth had served the Valdran Galactic Empire for 200 years. He had seen wars that burned across entire star systems. He had watched civilizations rise and fall. He had given orders that killed millions and saved billions more. Nothing in all those centuries had prepared him for the report sitting on his desk. He read it again for the 5th time. The words had not changed. The Stephanie horde was gone. Not defeated, not scattered, gone. 3,000 warships. The largest pirate fleet assembled in 500 years. They had gathered at the edge of Imperial space with one purpose, to attack the Volan system and burn every human colony world they could reach. The Scathern were brutal and stupid, but they were effective. Their ships were fast. Their weapons were powerful and their warriors feared nothing. And now they were simply gone. Karth put down the report and stared at the wall of his office. Through the window behind him, the Imperial capital world turned slowly, its cities glittering like scattered jewels across the night side. 12,000 years of civilization. The greatest empire the galaxy had ever known. And somehow something had happened that none of their sensors, none of their spies, none of their vast intelligence networks could explain. His door chimed. "Enter," he said. Commander Valises walked in, her scales shifting from blue to grey as she approached his desk. She was one of his best officers, a Seth Ronnie with a mind like a blade. Nothing rattled her. But today her colors were wrong, too pale, too uncertain. "The investigation team has returned from Villain," she said. And nothing. Valis sent a data tablet on his desk. No debris, no energy signatures, no weapons residue. The entire Scanini fleet simply stopped existing. "Our best estimate is that it happened in less than 17 minutes. Kor leaned back in his chair. 17 minutes. 3,000 ships. How is that possible? It is not possible, Admiral. That is the problem. He picked up the tablet and scrolled through the report. Sensor Long showed the Sketh fleet entering the Velant system in standard attack formation. They were moving toward the 4th plant where 2 million humans lived in farming settlements and mining operations. The humans had no military presence, no defense platforms, no warships, just cargo haulers and passenger transports. The Scanini should have swept through the system in hours. They should have killed everyone and taken everything valuable. That was what the Scanini did. That was what they had always done. Instead, 17 minutes after entering the system, every single Scanini ship vanished from sensors. No explosions, no distress calls, no emergency beacons, just silence. "What did the humans say?" Kor asked. "They claimed they saw nothing. They say they did not even know the Scanini were coming until we told them." Valis has paused. "They seem genuinely confused by our questions." "Confused?" "Yes, Admiral. They keep asking why we are so interested in their system. They say nothing unusual happened." Correct down the tablet. 3,000 ships disappear and the humans notice nothing unusual. That is what they say. He stood and walked to the window. Below him, transport ships moved between orbital stations, carrying goods and passengers across the vast machinery of Empire. Somewhere out there, beyond the lights and the traffic, something had destroyed the most powerful pirate fleet in centuries. And the humans claimed they knew nothing about it. Humanity had joined the Empire 40 years ago. They were a minor species from a small planet at the edge of known space. Their technology was adequate but unremarkable. Their military consisted of 12 patrol frigates that could barely handle customs enforcement. They had no special abilities, no unique resources, no strategic value. The Empire had accepted them because the Empire accepted everyone who followed the rules and paid their taxes. Humans were quiet, polite, forgettable. They worked hard, traded fairly, and never caused problems. In 40 years, they had done nothing to attract attention until now. "I want everything we have on humanity," Kor said. "Every report, every contact, every trade record, everything. Admiral, humanity is a Tier 7 species. We have minimal surveillance on them. There is not much to review." "Then review what we have." "Something does not make sense here, Velis." Something is very wrong. She nodded and left. Kor stayed at the window for a long time, watching the ships come and go. He had a feeling in his gut, the same feeling he got before a battle turned bad. Something was hiding in plain sight. Something he should have noticed long ago. 2 days later, Vals returned with a young analyst named Pref. The young officer was barely out of the academy. His scales still showing the bright patterns of youth. But his eyes were sharp and he carried a data tablet like it contained secrets that could shake the Empire. "Tell the Admiral what you found," Bellies said. Pref stepped forward nervously. "Sir, I was reviewing the archives for anything related to human colonies. Standard search parameters, looking for anomalies or unusual events. I found something strange." He handed Kor the tablet. 7 incidents over 40 years. Each time a threat approached a human settlement. Each time the threat disappeared. Kor scrolled through the list. A slaver fleet that vanished near a human mining station. A territorial dispute where an aggressive species suddenly withdrew from human space, refusing to explain why. A warlord who captured a human passenger ship found dead on his own bridge with his entire crew unconscious and unable to remember what happened. "These are all in the archives?" Kor asked. "Yes, sir. But they were filed separately under different categories. No one connected them until now." "Why not?" Pre swallowed. "Because they seemed unrelated, sir. Each incident had a different explanation. Equipment failure, internal conflict, medical emergencies. They all looked like coincidences. And now I do not think they were coincidences at all." Korath studied the young officer. "You think the humans did this?" "All of it. I think something protected those humans, sir. Every time they were threatened, the threat went away. That is not luck. That is not coincidence. That is a pattern." Vale spoke up. "If the humans have some kind of hidden defense capability, we should have detected it. Our sensors are the best in the galaxy. Nothing escapes our surveillance. Nothing we understand escapes our surveillance." Pre corrected quietly. "But what if they have something we have never seen before? Something we do not know how to look for?" The room went silent. Kor thought about the Scaney fleet. 3,000 ships, 17 minutes. No trace. "This is speculation," he said. Finally. "We have no proof." "No, sir," Preth agreed. "But we have a pattern, and patterns do not lie." Korth looked at the list again. 7 incidents. 7 times humans should have died. And 7 times something saved them. Whatever was protecting humanity, it was powerful. It was fast. And it did not want to be seen. "I want a full investigation," he said quietly. "I do not want to alarm the Council until we know more. Vili says you will lead the team. Press, you are assigned to her. Find out what the humans are hiding." "And if we find something, sir?" Valises asked. Korath turned back to the window. The capital world continued its slow rotation, peaceful and oblivious. 12,000 years of empire. Countless species conquered and absorbed. The Valdren had built the greatest civilization in history because they understood power. They knew how to recognize threats and eliminate them before they grew too strong. But what if they had missed something? What if for 40 years something had been growing right under their noses? Something that could erase 3,000 warships without leaving a trace. "If you find something," Kor said slowly, "report to me immediately and pray that whatever the humans have, they consider us friends." Valises and Preth left. Koreth stayed at the window, watching the lights of Empire glitter in the darkness. Somewhere out there, the Scaney horde was gone. Somewhere out there, humanity was keeping secrets. And somewhere deep in his gut, Corinth felt the first cold touch of fear. The Valdren Galactic Empire had ruled the galaxy for 12,000 years. They had crushed every enemy, absorbed every rival, survived every crisis. Nothing had ever truly threatened them. But tonight, for the first time in his long career, Admiral Karth wondered if that was about to change. He did not sleep well that night. And in the morning, the first reports began arriving about the Scaneni survivors regrouping at the edge of known space, swearing revenge on every human world they could find. The mystery of was about to become something much worse. Director Silith had interrogated thousands of suspects during her career. Spies, traitors, rebels, criminals of every species and every kind. She knew how to read faces, how to detect lies, how to find the truth hidden beneath layers of deception. The Imperial Intelligence Service had made her their best investigator because nothing escaped her notice. But the humans were different. She sat in her office aboard the intelligence cruiser Whisperer reviewing the files that Commander Velis had compiled. 7 incidents over 40 years. 7 times human colonies faced destruction. 7 times the threat simply vanished. The pattern was clear. The explanation was not. Her door opened and Analyst Press entered with another stack of data tablets. The young officer had been working without sleep for 3 days, digging through every record the Empire had on humanity. His scales had gone pale from exhaustion, but his eyes still burned with determination. "I found more," he said, dropping the tablets on her desk. "Trade records, shipping manifests, census data. Nothing unusual on the surface. But look at this." He pulled up a star chart showing human space. 12 colony worlds scattered across a small region at the edge of Imperial territory. Nothing special about any of them. Average populations, average resources, average everything. Human ships travel between these worlds constantly. Pre-said cargo haulers, passenger transports, mining vessels, hundreds of trips every day. But here's the strange part. He highlighted several routes on the map. Some of these ships take longer than they should. Not by much. Just a few hours here, a day there. The delays are always explained by maintenance stops or cargo transfers. But when I check the maintenance records, nothing matches up. Silas leaned forward. They are stopping somewhere that is not on the records. That is what I think. Snorts, they are going somewhere we cannot see. Doing something we do not know about and then continuing on their way. Whatever they are hiding, it is in those gaps. Can we track them? I tried. Our sensors lose them in certain regions of space. Not for long. Just brief windows where they seem to disappear. I thought it was equipment failure at first, but it happens too often to be coincidence. Silas studied the map. Humans were supposed to be simple. Farmers, miners, traders. Their technology was adequate, but nothing special. They should not have the ability to hide from Imperial sensors, even briefly. I need to speak with them directly, she said. Prepare my shuttle. We are going to Earth. Earth was a blue and green world, beautiful in a common sort of way. Scath had seen hundreds of plants and this one did not stand out. Its cities were small compared to Imperial standards. Its orb infrastructure was modest. Everything about it said minor species with limited resources. But Silith had learned not to trust what things said. The Human Diplomatic Council met her in a garden outside their capital building. Real plants, real sunlight, real air. Humans seemed to prefer such things. The leader of their delegation was an elderly woman named Sarah Chen with white hair and calm eyes that gave away nothing. Director Silath, Chun said warmly. Welcome to Earth. We are honored by your visit. I am not here for honor, Silith replied. I am here for answers. Of course. Please sit. Would you like tea? Silas did not want tea. She wanted to understand how a species with 12 patrol frigates had made 3,000 warships disappear, but she accepted the cup anyway. Learning required patience. Ambassador Chun, she began. I have spent the last week studying your species, your history, your colonies, your activities within the Empire. I have found some interesting patterns. Patterns? Chun sipped her tea with perfect calm. 7 times in 40 years, threats have approached your people. Slavers, pirates, aggressive neighbors. Each time, those threats vanished before they could do any harm. And each time your people claim to know nothing about it. We are fortunate people, Director. Fortunate. Silas set down her cup. 3,000 Scarnian warships entered the Ven system 2 weeks ago. They plan to kill 2 million of your citizens. Now those ships are gone, not defeated, not scattered, erased in 17 minutes. And you call this fortune? Chen's expression did not change. What would you call it? I would call it impossible unless someone made it happen. Unless someone has weapons and technology that we have never seen before. Unless someone has been hiding their true capabilities from the Empire for 40 years. The garden was quiet. Birds sang in the trees. A gentle breeze carried the scent of flowers. It was peaceful and beautiful, and Silath felt like she was standing at the edge of an abyss. Director Chun said gently, humanity joined your empire as friends. We have followed your laws, paid your taxes, respected your customs. We have never threatened anyone. We have never demanded anything. We have simply lived our lives and hoped to be left in peace. That is not an answer. It is the only answer I can give you. We are a small species with limited resources. Our military is tiny. Our technology is adequate but unremarkable. If something saved our people at Valen, we are grateful for it. But we cannot explain what we do not understand. Silath studied the old woman's face. She was telling the truth. Silath was certain of it, but she was also certain that the truth was not complete. Chun believed what she was saying, but she was not saying everything. Ambassador, Silas said slowly. I have interrogated liars and saints, traitors and heroes. I know when someone is hiding something. You are not lying to me, but you are not telling me everything either. Chun smiled. It was a sad smile, full of things unsaid. Director, in my experience, the truth is rarely simple, and some truths are better discovered than told. What does that mean? It means that I hope the Empire continues to treat us fairly. We value our place among you. We value the peace we have found here and we hope that peace will continue. Silas stood. That sounds like a warning, Ambassador. No, Chun replied. It sounds like a hope. Warnings are for enemies. We do not consider the Empire our enemy. We never have. The meeting ended with polite words and formal gestures. Silas returned to her shuttle with more questions than answers. Chen had given her nothing concrete. No admissions, no evidence, no explanations, just vague statements and gentle smiles. But as the shuttle lifted off, Chun's words echoed in her mind. We hope that peace will continue. Such a simple phrase. Such an innocent hope. So why did it feel like a threat? 3 days later, Silath received an urgent message from Admiral Kor. The Scaphany horde had regrouped. Their survivors had gathered at the edge of known space, and reinforcements were pouring in from every corner of their territory. 10,000 ships, maybe more. The largest hostile fleet in 3 centuries. And they had declared their intention to burn every human world as revenge for their lost brothers. Silath read the report twice. Then she thought about Ambassador Chun sitting in her garden with her tea and her sad smiles. The old woman had known this was coming. She must have known. And yet she had seemed so calm, so unconcerned. Either the humans were fools who did not understand the danger they faced, or they knew something the Empire did not. Silath was beginning to suspect which one was true. And for the first time in her long career, she was not sure she wanted to find out what the humans were hiding. Some truths, she realized, might be better left undiscovered. But the Sketh were coming. 10,000 ships hungry for revenge. Whatever secrets humanity held, they would be revealed soon enough. Silath just hoped the Empire was ready for what came next. The Imperial Council chamber was the largest room in the galaxy. Its ceiling rose so high that clouds sometimes formed inside it. Its walls displayed the banners of 10,000 conquered worlds. Its floor had been walked by emperors and generals, by builders and destroyers, by the greatest leaders the galaxy had ever known. Today, it held fear. Admiral Corinth stood before the council, presenting his report on the scan threat. 12 councillors sat in their ancient seats, representing the 12 founding species of the Empire. Behind them, hundreds of observers from lesser worlds watched in nervous silence. 10,000 warships, Karth said. Perhaps 12,000 by the time they reach human space. The largest hostile fleet assembled since the Vaughn Wars 3 centuries ago. They are not coming to raid or plunder. They are coming to exterminate. Chancellor Metha, the eldest of the councillors, leaned forward. His species had ruled the Empire for 8,000 years. His voice carried the weight of centuries. And what do the humans have to defend themselves? 12 patrol frig, Chancellor. No capital ships, no defense platforms, no meaningful military presence at all. A murmur ran through the chamber. Council of Raz representing the warrior species of the Cathani spoke next. Then they are already dead. Why waste our time discussing corpses? Because something destroyed the first Scanani fleet, Karth replied. 3,000 ships erased in 17 minutes. We still do not know how or why. If the humans have hidden capabilities, we need to understand them before we act. And if they do not, Council of Raz pressed. If the villain incident was some fluke, some accident we cannot explain. What then? Kor had no answer. He had spent weeks searching for evidence of human weapons, human technology, human secrets. He had found nothing. Either the humans were hiding something so advanced that the Empire could not even detect it, or they truly were helpless. Neither possibility was comforting. Chancellor Methrak raised his hand for silence. We have a choice to make. The Scanani are coming for the humans. We can defend them or we can let them fall. What are our options? Admiral Karth activated a display showing fleet dispositions across the Empire. To stop the Scanani decisively, we would need to commit at least 8,000 ships. That would strip our defenses across 3 sectors. If any other threat emerged during the campaign, we would be vulnerable. Casualties, millions. The Sketh fight without mercy. Even a victory would cost us dearly. Council of Rash snorted. All this for 50 million humans. They are a Tier 7 species. They contribute nothing of value. Their worlds hold no strategic importance. Why should we bleed for them? Because we promised them protection, said Councillor Alith, whose species valued honor above all else. When they joined the Empire, we swore to defend them. If we abandon them now, what does that say about our word? It says we are practical, Brass replied. The strong survive, the weak perish. That is the law of the universe. The debate continued for hours. Councillors argued, threatened, bargained. Some demanded full military commitment. Others wanted to wash their hands of the entire situation. Most fell somewhere in between, looking for a solution that cost the Empire nothing while appearing merciful. In the end, Chancellor Metha proposed a compromise. We will send a defensive force to human space, he said. 500 ships. Enough to show we made an effort. We will evacuate as many humans as possible before the Scanani arrive. After the enemy has finished their rampage, we will counterattack and destroy them. And the humans who cannot evacuate? Councillor Alith asked quietly. They will die, Methrak replied. But their sacrifice will give us time to prepare. And when we crush the Scanani afterward, the galaxy will see that no one attacks Imperial citizens without consequences. It was a cold calculation, practical, efficient, heartless. The Council voted and the motion passed by a wide margin. Admiral Kor was given the task of informing the humans. He traveled to Earth alone in a small courier ship. He did not want witnesses for this conversation. He did not want anyone to see what he was about to do. Ambassador Chun met him in the same garden where she had met Director Silith. The same flowers, the same birds, the same gentle breeze. She looked older than he remembered. Or perhaps he was simply seeing her clearly for the first time. Admiral Kor, she said. I assume you bring news about the Scanani. Yes. He could not meet her eyes. The Empire has decided to send a token defensive force. 500 ships. We will begin evacuating your people immediately. 500 ships against 10,000. Chun's voice was calm. That is not a defense. That is a gesture. I know. And the evacuation. How many of my people can you save? Kor finally looked at her. Perhaps 5 million. Maybe less. We do not have enough transport capacity for everyone. So, 45 million of my people will die. I am sorry, Ambassador. The Council decided that the cost of full defense was too high. Your worlds are simply not worth the sacrifice. Chun nodded slowly. She did not seem surprised. She did not seem angry. She seemed like someone who had always known this moment would come. Will you evacuate? Korth asked. You and your leaders, at least we can guarantee your safety. No, Admiral. No, Admiral. We will stay in our homes. You will die. Perhaps. Chun looked at the flowers swaying in the breeze. Or perhaps not. The universe is full of surprises. Kor felt a flash of frustration. Ambassador, I am trying to save you. I do not want your people to die, but the Empire has made its decision. There is nothing I can do. Chun turned back to him. Her eyes were kind, almost pitying. Admiral, we have been members of your empire for 40 years. We have followed every rule. We have paid every tax. We have never complained. Never demanded, never caused any trouble. And now when we face extinction, your empire offers us evacuation while our worlds burn. I know it is unjust, but the council made their choice, Chan interrupted gently. And now we will make ours. Admiral, I want you to remember something. Whatever happens next, we gave the Empire every chance. We were patient. We were peaceful. We were good citizens. And still, you chose to abandon us. That sounds like a threat. No, Admiral. It is simply a fact. Now, I think you should leave. And I think when you tell your council what I said, you should recommend that they watch carefully. They may learn something important. Chorus stood. He wanted to argue to convince her to run to save herself. But there was something in her eyes that stopped him. A certainty that went beyond courage. A calm that came from knowing something he did not. He returned to his ship and lifted off from Earth. As the blue and green world shrank behind him, his sensors flickered. For just a moment, he detected thousands of energy signatures across human space. Massive signatures far larger than any human ship should produce. Then they vanished as quickly as they had appeared. Kor stared at his sensor display for a long time. He thought about Chun's words. He thought about her calm acceptance of death. He thought about the way she had looked at him like he was a child who did not understand what was happening. Then he opened a channel to Admiral Command and sent an urgent message to the Council. Something was about to happen. Something the Empire was not prepared for. And Karth had a terrible feeling that everything they thought they knew about humanity was about to be proven wrong. He just hoped the Empire survived long enough to learn from their mistake. Admiral Kor's courier ship had barely cleared Earth's orbit when his sensors went insane. Across every human colony system, energy signatures were appearing. Not dozens, not hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. His equipment screamed warnings about radiation levels and power outputs that should have been impossible. The readings made no sense. Their weapons fired beams of light that passed through scaphan shields like they did not exist. Ships that had survived 100 battles exploded in single hits. The Scaphani tried to return fire, but their weapons splashed harmlessly against human defenses. They tried to maneuver, but human ships moved faster than sensors could track. They tried to retreat, but human vessels blocked every escape route. It was not a battle. It was an execution. Kor watched in horror as the Scani fleet died. Ship after ship destroyed in seconds. Thousands of warriors erased without leaving a mark. The humans moved through the enemy formation like predators through prey, killing with terrible efficiency. 11 minutes after the battle began, it was over. 12,000 Scanian warships, the largest hostile fleet in 3 centuries, reduced to drifting wreckage and cooling corpses. Not a single human ship had been scratched. Kor's hands shook as he composed his report. What could he say? What words could capture what he had just witnessed? The Empire had faced powerful enemies before, They had fought wars that lasted centuries. They had always survived, always triumphed, always proven themselves the strongest. But this was different. This was not a battle between equals. This was not even a war. The humans had crushed the Scaney the way a giant might crush an insect, without effort, without risk, without mercy. And then, impossibly, the human fleet did nothing. They did not advance on Imperial territory. They did not demand surrender. They did not broadcast threats or ultimatums. They simply returned to their positions around human worlds and waited. Core sent a single message to Earth. "What are you?" Ambassador Chun's response came minutes later. "We are what we have always been, Admiral. Humans, we simply chose not to show you everything." The Imperial Council convened an emergency session as soon as Cora's report arrived. The 12 counselors read his account of the battle. They watched the sensor recordings. They saw the numbers. 40,000 human warships, weapons beyond anything in the Imperial arsenal, technology that made their greatest achievements look primitive. Fear filled the chamber like poison gas. "They could destroy us," Councillor Roth said, his warrior's pride forgotten. "They could crush the entire Empire in days." "They destroyed the Scarnian in 11 minutes, Councillor Olith added quietly. 12,000 ships. They did not even seem to try. Chancellor Metha stared at the holographic display showing human space. 40,000 ships. Each one a death sentence for any fleet the Empire could send against them. They had been hiding there for 40 years, watching, waiting, judging. "Why did they not attack us?" he asked. "They have the power. We abandoned them to die. Why show mercy?" No one had an answer. No one could understand why a species with such overwhelming force would choose restraint when vengeance was so easily within reach. Then the message arrived. It came from Ambassador Chun addressed to the full council. Simple words on a simple screen. An invitation to come to Earth for talks. Not demands, not threats, just an invitation. "They want to negotiate," Councillor Alice said, disbelief in his voice. "After everything we did, they want to talk." Chancellor Mathrick read the message again. He thought about the human fleet. He thought about what it could do and what it was choosing not to do. He thought about Ambassador Chun's words before the battle. "We gave the Empire every chance. Prepare my ship," he said. "Finally, we are all going to Earth. All 12 of us. If humanity wants to talk, we will listen." No one argued. No one suggested defiance or resistance. The time for pride had passed. Now there was only fear and a desperate hope that humanity's mercy would extend beyond the Empire's fate rested in human hands. Now and all they could do was hope that those hands would be gentle. The 12 most powerful beings in the galaxy arrived on Earth expecting surrender terms. They had prepared speeches of submission. They had rehearsed offers of tribute territory, anything that might satisfy the humans' desire for revenge. They had accepted that the Empire, after 12,000 years of dominance, was about to become a vassal state to a species they had considered worthless. Ambassador Chun met them in her garden. She offered them tea. Chancellor Metha accepted his cup with trembling hands. The other councillors sat in uncomfortable silence, surrounded by flowers and bird song, waiting for the hammer to fall. Above them, the sky was clear and blue. Somewhere beyond that sky, 40,000 human warships waited. Every councillor felt their presence like a weight on their souls. "Thank you for coming," Chun said, as if they were guests at a pleasant social gathering. "I know this must be difficult for you." "We are here to discuss terms," Meth replied. "What does humanity want from the Empire?" Chun smiled. It was the same sad smile Core had seen before, full of knowledge and sorrow. "Perhaps you should first understand who we are. Then we can discuss what we want." She gestured and holographic images appeared in the air around them. SAR maps, ancient and vast, showing regions of space far beyond Imperial borders. "Long before we found your empire," Chun began, "humanity discovered faster than light travel. We explored for centuries, traveling farther than any of your species have ever gone. We found wonders beyond imagination. We found horrors beyond description. And we found warnings. The images changed, showing ruined worlds and dead civilizations. Cities turned to glass. Planets stripped bare. Entire star systems reduced to ash. Every great civilization we found had destroyed itself. Chun continued. Some through war, some through neglect, some through arrogance. But they all shared one thing in common. They believed that power was meant to be used. That strength justified domination. That the purpose of building weapons was to point them at others. The councillors watched in silence as image after image showed the graves of once mighty empires. Thousands of species, millions of years of history, all reduced to ruins and warnings. We learned a different lesson. Chun said, we built our fleet not for conquest, but for protection. We developed the simple philosophy. The ability to destroy means nothing without the wisdom to choose peace. Power is not a right. It is a responsibility. She let the images fade. The garden was quiet except for the wind in the leaves. When we found your empire, we saw a civilization that ruled through fear. You conquered the weak, exploited the powerless, and called it natural law. We could have destroyed you. It would have taken us less than a week. But we chose differently. We chose to join you as the lowest members, to live among you, to watch and learn and hope. Hope for what? Councillor Alith asked quietly. Hope that you could change. Hope that somewhere beneath the conquest and cruelty, there was something worth saving. Hope that one day you would choose to be better. Chancellor Metha set down his tea. His hands had stopped shaking. In their place was a cold certainty that what came next would change everything. And have we proven worthy of that hope? He asked. Chan's eyes were gentle but honest. When the Skani threatened us, you chose to sacrifice our people rather than risk your own. You calculated the value of 50 million human lives and decided we were not worth the cost. So no, Chancellor, you have not proven worthy. The words hung in the air like a judgment. Several councillors looked away in shame. Others sat frozen, waiting for the sentence to be pronounced. But Chun continued, you came here. You did not hide in your palace and wait for us to attack. You came to us willing to talk, willing to listen. That is something. What do you want? Meth asked again. Name your price. Territory, resources, tribute. Whatever you demand, we will pay. We do not want territory. We do not want tribute. We do not want to rule your empire. Chun paused, letting her words sink in. We want partnership. The councillors stared at her in confusion. Of all the demands they had expected, this was not among them. Partnership? Chun repeated. Humanity will share our technology, our knowledge, our protection. In return, the empire must change. No more species hierarchies. No more sacrificing the weak to protect the strong. True equality for all member worlds. Justice for all citizens, not just the powerful. You want us to rebuild our entire civilization. Councillor Raz said that is impossible. It is difficult, Chun agreed, but not impossible and far better than the alternative. Chancellor Methrak leaned forward. Why? You have the power to take everything. You could rule the galaxy. Why negotiate? Chun looked at him with something like pity. Because slaves do not build civilizations, Chancellor. Fear does not create loyalty. You will never be safe while your subjects dream of freedom. Your empire has lasted 12,000 years, but it is hollow. One day, it will fall, consumed by its own contradictions. We are offering you a chance to build something that will last forever. And if we refuse, then we will wait. Chen's voice was calm, but final. We will watch your empire crumble under its own weight. We will watch your subjects rebel, your systems fracture, your legacy turn to dust. And when it is over, we will help whoever survives build something better from the ruins. One way or another, change is coming. We are simply offering you the chance to be part of it. The councillors debated for 3 days. They argued about tradition and pride, about power and control, about everything they stood to lose. But beneath all the arguments was a simple truth. They had no choice. Humanity held all the power. The only question was whether to accept their mercy or face their patience. In the end, they agreed. The reforms began slowly. Species barriers were lowered, then removed. Former subjects became citizens with equal rights. The Imperial fleet remained, but now it served all members equally. Human technology spread across the Empire, lifting every world to war prosperity. It was not easy. Change never is. Old hatreds died hard, and old powers fought to maintain their privileges. But with human support and human protection, the new order held. Year by year, the Empire transformed into something new, something better. 1 year after the summit, Admiral Core returned to Earth. He found Ambassador Chen in her garden, surrounded by flowers that had bloomed through an entire revolution. "You could have destroyed us," he said. "You could have ruled everything." Chen watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and gold. "Yes, but ruling through fear is exhausting, Admiral. We wanted neighbors, not subjects. Friends, not slaves. The galaxy is vast and dangerous. Better to face it together." Korth considered this. For a year, he had watched his empire transform. He had seen ancient enemies become allies. He had seen slaves become citizens. He had seen fear replaced by hope. And through it all, the human fleet had remained, a silent promise of protection for all. What if we had refused, he asked. What if we had chosen to fight instead of surrender? Chen's smile faded slightly. Then we would have waited. We have been patient for a very long time, Admiral. We would have watched your empire collapse. We would have helped the survivors build something better. One way or another, things were always going to change. We simply gave you the chance to be part of that change instead of a warning for future generations. Yes. Karth looked at the sky. Somewhere up there, human warships kept their eternal watch. 40,000 ships, each one powerful enough to destroy a world. And yet they protected instead of conquered. They guarded instead of dominated. He thought about everything he had learned in the past year. About power and restraint. About mercy and wisdom. About the choice to build instead of destroy. "Thank you," he said finally, "for giving us the chance to change." Chen nodded. "Thank you for taking it. The galaxy is better with your people in it, Admiral. All we had to do was help you see that you could be better, too." The sun set behind the mountains and the first stars appeared in the darkening sky. Somewhere among them, the Empire.